the very thing that you think is holding you back is the very thing that may take you to the next level. And if you're out there and you're like, man, I don't have any money, I'm struggling paycheck to paycheck, you have gifts. You are worthy of wealth too. You are worthy of accomplishing your dreams too. Hi guys, welcome back to Wealth Within Reach. I am Erica Brown and I am so excited to have today on this week's episode is my girl, my friend, my sister, coach, broker, investor, mogul real estate agent, soft life damsel, Jazmyne Butler.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here, girl.
Hey.
Oh, okay, so before we get into it, it's so funny. We got to talk about how we met.
Okay.
Because it's just a funny story. How we met versus how we started, like, being in each other's lives are like two different things.
Yes.
You talk about how we met, and then I will share how we became friends.
Okay.
Because it's two stories.
I'll tell my side.
Okay.
So we were at a mutual friend's birthday party.
Yes.
At their house.
Yes.
When Erica came, I knew she was like in real estate. I was in real estate. So I figured.
And I had heard of Jasmine because my friends were working with her as an agent. And I'm an agent. So I was like, why are they not working with me? Most people become friends with me and they start working with me and they're not working with me. So, okay, go ahead.
Yes. And so she comes and I'm like, oh, I'll have somebody to talk to. I didn't know many people at the party. So she comes, I say, hey, and she gives me the stank face. And I'm like,
remember that.
Okay, maybe I should find somebody else.
And I don't remember that. I just remember being at this place and like not knowing anybody but my husband. And I was just kind of like in this corner.
So we both were doing the same thing, essentially just minding our corners.
Right.
And we could have been talking.
Yeah. But think about how many times people are like, I want to meet people. I want to meet more people who are like about my, situation. And they may have like a perceived negative interaction and they just like allow that to like just be the end of it.
Yeah.
But
this could have started 2 years before.
It could have. We could have even like been even more closer than we already are, even though we are very close now.
I know you're busy.
Yes. Yes, lots of ways. And then later on, maybe, was it a year after that? I don't know. Months after that. Who knows? I was looking to grow my real estate team. And again, at this point, I had met multiple people who knew Jasmine, who were also my friends. And they wouldn't work with me, and because they were still working with Jasmine, and I was like, you know what? If you can't beat them, you just gotta like bring them on your team. So I slid into her DMs. Yes, I slid into her DMs and was like, "Can I just get to know you? Can we meet? Can we talk?" And the rest is history. Yeah,
actually, such a God thing because I was not going to join a real estate team.
Right, you had no reason to join. You have a very successful career.
You. And I had been burned before on a team that just wasn't mutually beneficial.
Right.
And so there was no possible way it was happening. But I was like, another Black woman in real estate. We know the same people. We should know each other. But then she got me. So.
How did I get you?
I don't remember exactly how, but I do remember that when we were about to get on the Zoom, I was like, just gonna meet the lady.
Just gonna have. I know calls like this. Yeah, like, I'm just gonna have a call. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, and when I got off, I was like, "Dang it, I'm about to join her team." Like what? This was not the plan, but it worked out, obviously.
And I was like, "Dang, I hope she joined the team. She's great." Even beyond that, like we have become really, really, really close friends. She is a part of my tier 1.
Yes,
it's a tier. It's tiers to friends. That's another episode. We have become really close, and what I admire so much about Jasmine is that she is a boss, but she's a boss in her own way. Like, I love how you own what you value, what you believe, what you want to do in your way. And I just love that about Jasmine. I'm not going to cry today. But, and I love that. And one of the most interesting things that I learned about you is that, like, you're an investor. You're going to talk about that, how many doors you own, all that kind of stuff. But Jasmine has never paid a mortgage for a property that you live like that she lives in.
Never.
How have you never ever paid a mortgage for a property that you live in?
House hacking.
Okay.
Day one.
Talk about that. What is house hacking for people who are very new?
Simple definition is making money from house you live in. My definition.
Okay.
And it does not have to be a duplex. It doesn't have to be a multifamily. In my case, my very first house, I rented the room. And that came like from being on the struggle bus, honestly.
Are you saying that like when you bought a house, you didn't have all this money, you didn't have like parents give you money, you didn't have this banging full-time job, you didn't have a husband, a second income? Yeah. You telling me you became an investor and you didn't have all that?
Right. And I had a very tiny budget. I mean, so tiny that I kept getting outbid, and I'm an agent. I consider myself a really good agent.
Right.
But people had more money than me.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty hot real estate market at the time, and the properties I was going for were multifamily properties. Okay. So of course, lots of people wanted affordable multifamily properties.
Right.
So I had to settle, which felt like settling at the time, but that house still pays for itself and pays other bills too. So it's just that one decision.
Oh man, you touching on so many things. First, do you want to get married?
I would love to get married.
Okay, because I don't want to assume. Let's stop assuming that people want to get married. But first off, what made you not wait until you got married to pull the trigger on even buying your first house?
So I've been in real estate now for 9 years. I think at the time I was in real estate maybe 4.
Okay.
And I could see what real estate could do for people. And it hurts being on the sidelines when you know the truth of the freedom that it can bring.
Yeah.
So there's no waiting because I know what I want my life to look like in the future. And I had a really good vision about that then. So I had to do what I could do, and that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Also at the time, fairly new entrepreneur, figuring it out. And honestly, a lot of that my family did not understand. So I had to figure out a way to make it work, or it's going back to Mississippi where I'm from.
Yeah.
So you have to figure it out.
Oh, that's so good. Like it was one of those things where it's like either you're going to do it or you're going to like struggle. So we got to do what we got to do. And at the end of the day, you always need somewhere to live.
And other people do too.
Yeah. That part. That's so good. Okay, so many things. Okay, cool. So we talked about you not having a ton of money, you not having a second income, and you still pulled the trigger. How did you overcome being afraid and, you know, what if I can't pay my mortgage, or what if I can't find a roommate, or even what I hear mostly is I'm grown, I don't want to live with other people.
The whole I'm grown, I don't want to live with other people thing never crossed my mind. I don't mind sharing in general. I don't mind sharing my space. I wanted to pay my mortgage. Like my comfort and growth was more important than any fear that I had. I think my fear was not doing it. Like I got sick of losing bidding wars and all of that stuff. So I was just like, what can I get right now?
Right.
This house made sense. It was not a multifamily. It was a single family. I'm not sure if I said that. So I made that work for me.
I love that. I love that. That's really good. And oh man, it's a couple of things. So one, sometimes we struggle with, especially in this environment that we are in today, when the interest rates are higher than they have been a couple of years ago. A couple of years ago, we may have been able to qualify for a house that was worth $500,000. Now, with the new interest rates, we only qualify maybe for $350,000.
Yeah.
And for some people, that could be, okay, well, I'll just wait and I won't buy it all. But I love how you seen the value of like, this is how I want my future life to be. So I'm not going to just stop, and I'm actually not settling. I'm just going to pivot my strategy that aligns with the current market so that I can still be able to experience this dream life that I want to experience in the future. Yeah. That's huge.
I think we're so used to our microwave society that we want, we want to go viral. We want like quick. We want the success that people work 10 years for.
Right.
Instead of like just doing the next step. It's pretty simple. And so for me, my growth has been slow growth. It's been baby step of faith, then the next baby step of faith, and it eventually all accumulates.
That's really good.
So it wasn't me getting a quad my first go round. I got a single family house, didn't love it, but I liked it, and it worked for me, and it worked at the time, and it's still paying bills today.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. I love that so much. So if you can like tap into like someone who may feel like intimidated by real estate because like they're like, oh, well, Jasmine's an agent. So of course that, she's gonna feel like she can just take the step and do it. Like, what would you say to that person who feels intimidated, who wants to change, they want things to be different, but they just really aren't sure how they make that mental shift, like that ends, like, because a lot of times it's not like the environment. It's not like, the market is us. What work have you done to be able to make that mental shift? And what would you recommend to someone else who is really struggling with fear and taking action?
Well, it depends on the season.
Yeah.
Because I think at certain seasons, I had to block out everything, all the well-intentioned advice that people who love me would give me. It was either choose their well-intentioned advice or my vision for my life, and through prayer and all of that. And so I chose that in that season. And then now, or in a different season, it may be you listen to people around you because you chose those people. They're doing the same thing. So I would say you like being a mentor, a friend, we're in the same circle, we're doing the same things.
Right.
You can listen more in this season than like being kind of the lone wolf. So I don't know. Honestly, I just say God did because I don't know. I really, the ultimate answer is I don't know. Therapy, yes. All the things. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Praise God. That's baby steps and like period.
Yes, baby steps. I think that's key. It's just worrying about, and you do this, I don't know if you know that you do this, but oftentimes, because you've been through a lot of challenging things this year, in real estate, personal life, all that kind of stuff. And I've seen you have this like type of focus to just work on what's in front of you. And maybe that's your way of, that's your way of taking baby steps is, okay, I'm scared. This is hard, but what do I need to do to focus on accomplishing this thing? And then I do that. And then I do the next thing, right? Like even, bringing it down. And you're a research queen.
Yeah.
If you need to know anything about any oils, any food, any ingredients, any celebrity gossip,
everything.
Everything.
I know a little bit about a lot of stuff.
Yes, she's a jack of all trades.
Jazz of all trades.
Jazz of all trades. Girl, you better trademark that. That's so good. Okay, so you mentioned about this dream life that you wanted to create and how you had to silence people to even probably envision what that looks like for you. Can you talk to me more about like what type of dream life are you working towards with your investing? Like, let me imagine this dream life with you.
It's pretty simple. Okay. So, and I like that my vision doesn't depend on somebody else. And my vision is the freedom to say yes and the freedom to say no. If there is something I want to do, I want to be able to say yes. And if there's a situation I need to be out of, I don't have to stay in a situation that I don't need to be in because I have the freedom to walk. So the freedom to say yes, freedom to say no, the ability to help in a different capacity.
Yeah.
Even through properties, lately I've been able to help cancer patients. I've been able to help students, people who are in transition, people who've had bankruptcies, like different things where if I choose to be of assistance in that way, like I get to do that, and it's my choice because I'm in the position to make those decisions.
Yeah, because you own the properties. You can decide who you allow an opportunity for and not. And one thing I love about this conversation is like the kingdom part of real estate investing. Yeah. We talk about this a lot and how we both feel like God has called us to do this for that reason. And that's just a special play that I don't think is like popular. When you listen to like some of like the bigger podcasts, they don't get like wanting to like actually support your community through real estate. It's all about, A class, B class, C class neighborhood, all these things. And that's the part about real estate. And that's why the Owning and Living It community is so special, is because we come from those communities. A lot of us we grew up in the Section 8 houses. You know, a lot of folks have experienced those slum lords or friends have experienced those slum lords and things like that. So we are able to really view real estate from a different perspective, and having other people doing that with you is just so important. Yeah. Speaking of other people, or one of my other episodes, I talk about like your support team. Yeah. And not just your real estate agent and your property manager. I'm talking about your advice giver, your truth teller, your advocate, your cheerleader, okay? And you are, for me, my truth giver, my advice giver. You serve multiple roles depending on different plays. Talk to me about like what your support team looks like and the value of that additional support team and how that has like impacted you in this journey. Yeah. As a single woman specifically. Let me tell you about my upcoming event. Trust me when I tell you, you're gonna wanna hear this. It's time to step into a world beyond your typical real estate conference. Imagine walking into the room and you instantly find your people. I would like to introduce you to the Owning It and Living It experience. This is a 3-day unique experience that merges Black and brown culture with real estate insights to help you think about building wealth in a different kind of way. This isn't just about making money, although we know how to do that. This is also about welcoming you into an environment where you feel seen, known, and safe. Join me for an unparalleled experience designed to help you both financially and empower you through the power of real estate. The Owning It and Living It experience is November 1st through 3rd at the Intercontinental Hotel in Atlanta. Yes, sis, we're in Buckhead. To learn more, go to owningitandlivingit.com or scroll down in the show notes, and I'll see you there.
First of all, a support team is necessary because you would just be out here. There's so much information out there. You'll know a lot of information, but the wisdom comes in is where and when to apply it. Yes. And what works for you.
Your specific situation.
It's so many things. You could just get so lost in the information. The team is important in every aspect of it. Your team doesn't necessarily have to be all in mentorship roles. Like it could be friends who just support it. I have friends who don't do real estate. They don't want to do real estate. They're like, I will just be a roommate. I don't want to even think about that. But they're the biggest cheerleaders and support whether they understand it or not. And when they're ready, I'm gonna be like, come on.
Yes.
So it really just, you need all of them, but they don't all have to look the same.
1,000%, 1,000%. So not only do you serve as an amazing real estate agent, an investor, how many doors are you?
10.
You have now 10 doors. This lady who's not married, who did not come from a lot of money, who did not start out with money, has 10 doors. That's amazing. Yeah. You know, I'm proud. So you do all the things, and one of the roles that you serve in with the Owning and Living It community is Coach Jasmine. So you get to help people, teach them how to invest in real estate. What are some of the biggest, would you say, misconceptions that you kind of see as like a pattern with working with people and teaching them how to invest in real estate right now in this market?
One is that it's complicated. Like it's really not. Yeah. Like I said, it's so much information out there. The wisdom comes in with the right mentors, with the right team around you. So I think people tend to overcomplicate things. And then also there are so many simple ways to get into real estate. Like I mentioned, house hacking, that was my on-ramp to real estate. It was so easy. And I was just using what I already had.
Right.
And maximizing what I already had. And that shifted my perspective to maximize everything.
Yes.
And do it to 100% capacity.
Right. Even more. Yeah. Share the story about the most recent student that so I just recently had a mentorship program, and Jasmine is coaching within that program as well. And she's actually also working with a couple in the program, and they're currently under contract. Talk to us about that story.
I think we closed in 4 days or 5 days.
Yes.
So they had a pretty clear vision what they wanted. They were going to do your step-up strategy. They created a lot of equity, forced equity in their house. So they renovated their current house and are moving their family into a different house that has an ADU. So Ken House Act Day 1.
Yes. What's an ADU for people who don't know? Accessory
dwelling unit. In this case, it's a garage apartment. And then it's plenty of space for their family. It's in a community that they're familiar with. So like less than 5 minutes from their
live around
current
the corner
house
that they currently own.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always say I love the step up. That's my favorite. I've done the step up too. And House Hack the next one. Yes. I brought my roommates from my first house to my second house.
And the step up, if you don't know what we're talking about, is basically when you buy a house and you move into it and then you live there for at least a year and then you move out and you buy another house and then your first house becomes a rental property. It is the fastest, easiest, cheapest way to become a real estate investor.
Yep.
Yeah. And so they're doing that.
They're doing that, and they're going to move their family into the new house, rent out their previous house. And what I love about stepping up is like, it's a house you know.
Yes.
So if your tenant calls you and they're like, the toilet stop up, all you got to say is just shake the handle a little bit. It's do it 3 times, it's going to work. Versus a house you've never lived in.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love that so much. And so this couple, after taking my 90-day mentorship program and working with Jasmine and I in the program, they are going from 1 house to 4 units because basically their house, they're going to renovate the basement. And so their houses, they're going to have 2 units, and then they're moving into another house that's going to have 2 units. So in less than 6 months, they're going to go from no streams of income actually to 3 streams of income.
And they also have a shed back there that I really think they should make into like a little tiny house.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Oh man, that's so amazing. So what is like the advantage of, because aren't all agents like created equal? Like, can't I just invest in real estate and work with any real estate agent? Like, why should they work with you?
Yeah. Like you said, not all agents are created equal. And there are some agents that are like so wonderful, but they may not invest themselves. The perk an agent who also invests is they understand a deal. They understand that a deal may not look like a deal. They can get really creative.
Right.
Some agents can get really creative with how you can make money from your property, and I feel like that's one of my superpower. Just because I've done that in my personal life.
Yes,
using what you have, and so with our market having really high rates right now.
Right.
And prices going up in the Atlanta market.
With the high rates.
How do we get the cash flow we need from one property?
Yeah.
And that's where I've seen people really win in this market. And so working with the agent who has that vision and mindset that can help coach their clients is a huge benefit.
It's huge. It's huge. I love that so much. And what I love about our community is that you don't have to explain why you want to do these things. Like, you don't have to be like, well, I want a house hack. I know it's weird. I want a house hack because I want to, I want to be able to be financially independent in 3 years. Like, you don't have to explain that. That's our language. What we also get desiring to make money so that we can take care of our moms. We get that. Other cultures don't do that, and so you don't have to explain things with us, and you are like instantly like seen. And I think that that's such a great safe space that we create.
And so rare.
Yeah, it's so rare that we create with the community. Just 2 more questions. I know that you're a coach and amazing real estate agent and all that, but how would you say that working with me and or the owning and community, living in community has supported your individual real estate investing / womanhood journey?
Yeah, it's kept the fire lit for sure.
Oh, nice.
There's no sitting down, taking a break. I mean, breaks look different, but it's like, when something's out of sight, it's out of mind. And I think keeping the goal in front of you keeps you not necessarily looking for a deal, but my biggest thing is like working really smart.
Yes.
And enjoying what I'm doing. So how can I do what I'm doing better and not just, collect a check every month, but be a really good landlord? You see people's wins and you see people's, and I don't want to say failures, but because you're just going to grow and stuff happens.
Yeah.
So you see all the stuff that happens and you're able to make corrections in your own business. Mm-hmm. And so that community aspect and helping each other is like unmatched.
Unmatched. And we're always like just sharing ideas. There's so much collaboration over competition, which I feel like coming, like looking on the outside in, if you haven't experienced this before, you could easily feel intimidated, like, oh, I'm not enough, or I don't have enough, or I'm not all the things. And it really is like collaboration over competition. It isn't, it's like literally probably the opposite of what you're thinking. The environment is like, I love that. What last piece of advice would you give to someone to really help them truly believe that wealth is within their reach today, as a single woman who doesn't have a husband, who may have a kid or two, who, who is really trying to figure it out and live this soft life for themselves?
I would say, like, just start somewhere. Your starting line does not have to be the guru on Instagram. Like, it can really be just your first step. And that's what mine was. Like, what is within my reach? And it was a single family home that had 4 bedrooms that I could rent out and help people in my community, but they're also helping me as I grow in my entrepreneurship journey. So my advice is to start, take an audit of what's around you. What do you have at your disposal? What can you get pre-approved? Find an agent that can work with you even if you're not ready yet. I work with a lot of people who are a year out, and I've connected them with the right resources to get there. But you're winning when you make the step and to move toward the direction you want to go. So I would say, like, do something.
I love that. I love that. I would also add for people, because I know there's someone here that's just kind of like, I don't have anything. They may say, like, I don't have anything to even start with, right? And I work with so many people, I know you have to work with so many people who think that they don't have anything and they have something. They have something to start with. But because you're limited in your dream of what's possible for you, it's going to be really hard for you to see the opportunities that are around you. That's why it's important to get in the room, to get outside your comfort zone, to get around people who you aspire to be like, to do things with. And it's not even like a user type of mentality. It's more so just like, you know the difference when you meet people and they want to use you, and you meet people and they want to learn from you. You know the difference. And so when you are someone who just earnestly wants to grow and want to learn, people who are further along love that, actually. Making your investment to get in those rooms will help you to expose you to opportunities that you didn't even see, so that you will know where to start taking action.
I was thinking about this the other day and just kind of like reflecting on my journey. And we grew up I grew up in the projects, but my mom bought a house when I was, I think, around somewhere between 12 and 14. The house had a like kind of cottage house on it. And they never rented it out to this day. It's the same house. And I'm just like, please rent that out. And I think of how we did not have to struggle as much as we did, or my mom did. She gave me like everything, but I now, in hindsight and therapy, I can see that there was so much sacrifice that she made that maybe she didn't have to. If we use what we already had, and like maybe fixing it up, making the sacrifice to like do something other people aren't doing.
Oh, that's good.
And so even to this day, it's still money that is not being taken advantage of, and people who aren't being helped. It would be a great property. It's really close to a hospital, really. And so I don't want that for other people. And so that's why I love to help coach people, particularly with house hacking, but also systems and making their real estate dreams come true, and just start.
Yes, that's so good. That's so good. The very thing that you think is holding you back is the very thing that may take you to the next level. And if you're out there and you're like, man, I don't have any money, I'm struggling paycheck to paycheck, you have gifts. You are worthy of wealth too. You are worthy of accomplishing your dreams too. And there are opportunities out there for you. You gotta bet on yourself and get yourself in the right rooms so that you can see what the treasures are around you once you give yourself a chance. So that's so good. That's so good. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for attending another episode of Wealth Within Reach. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you.